against individual white people.
Right.
As white supremacists. We were up against a system of white supremacy.
That's right.
And that was eye-opening for me.
Yes, sir.
Then he talked about the psychological manifestations of white supremacy and racism. Most of the other leaders, they talked about the physical manifestations, the lynchings, the murders, the brutalities. Brother Malcolm talked about those, but he also spent a lot of time talking about the attacks on the mind.
Yes.
And I think that this is so critical today because although the physical manifestations of white supremacy have been reduced somewhat, the psychological manifestations are unrelenting.
That's right. Yes, sir.
And we are involved in psychological warfare, and 90% of black people in this country aren't even aware of this.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Brother Malcolm spoke about this psychological warfare, the attack on our minds.
That's right.
And it's constant. And one reason that we're having a hard time is because most of our people don't even recognize this war.
That's right. Yes, sir.
They think that because the physical thing has been reduced somewhat because of the courageousness of those people in the 1960s and of the international situation, that things are cool.
Yes.
But the psychological attacks are unrelenting.
Yes,
the
sir.
movies, the television, the music, all these things are constant psychological attacks on the minds of our young people. And we have really got to deal with that.
Yes, sir. That's right. Again, if you're just tuning in, having a conversation with Brother A. Peter Bailey, he's going to be a significant part of the Malcolm X Tour 2013 that's taking place, brought to you by, again, Soul School Institute. And, of course, brother, as we're talking about Brother Malcolm and the counterintelligence program, as you talked about, the government, of course, was in denial. Many would say that it was the government that was behind the counterintelligence program that stripped us of many of our leaders. And as we speak today, of course, annually, every year on May the 2nd, the FBI in New Jersey, as we just saw last week, comes out and have a press conference to talk about one of our revolutionary freedom fighters and liberationists and political prisoners who's now living in political exile. And again, Mama Assata Shakur. Talk about the importance, again, of us teaching our young people so that they don't think that Assata Shakur is just some escaped prisoner that assassinated a police officer and escaped to Cuba, but she was in fact a political prisoner at a time when you have organizations on the left, such as the Weather Underground Weathermen with Bill Ayers, who's one of the best friends of President Barack Obama in Chicago, and he's touring the country right now with that old ugly wife of his, Bernadine Dorn, and his daddy, we understand, owned Exelon Energy. So they given an opportunity, of course, to have a seat at the table as again, what some would call, again, the political left, but at the same time, we see our sister Assata Shakur being put on America's most wanted list right now. Yeah, that is designed, kind of like as a showcase thing for the FBI. Yes, sir. I think one of the surprises that I have gotten since they did that was there's a little tabloid newspaper here in D.C. called The Examiner. Yes. And one of his regular columnists is a dude. I'm not going to say his name, but he's a black dude who's very conservative. Yes. And I read the paper because it's free. You read it. Yes, you can read it in 5 minutes. Sure. But I read the paper one day this week, brother, and was almost fell out of my seat when he did one of the most analytical and devastating attacks on the FBI. Yes, sir. For branding her, right? As the most 10 most wanted. I was shocked. Yes, sir. That this black conservative, right? Whose columns I disagree with almost totally every time he writes one. Yes, sir. But he did a very, very strong defense of her. Right. In this column, and it really shocked me. Yes, sir. So what that tells me, the fact that he would take that kind of position, that the FBI is well aware they have a very weak a position on this, and they're hoping that people would just forget. And again, we got to make our young people aware that many of the opportunities that they have today. That's right. Did not, because you get the impression sometimes that's given by some of these people, like the Condoleezza Rices and like this Ted Scott and like Ben Carson, the neurosurgeon who I tremendously admire as a neurosurgeon. But as a person, he's beginning to fall under, be a little bit, lacking. But these people make it sound as though all of a sudden one day white people say, we've been doing wrong by our black citizens, so we're going to change and do the right thing. Yes, sir. And they say that change in attitude, along with their
quote-unquote willingness to work hard is what got them provided the opportunities that they had. And my position is that's a bunch of crap.
That's right.
They got where they are. It's Condoleezza Rice.
Yes.
Down in those children, those
Alabama, the
who got brutalized
and
shot down and beat up by police and fire dogs and police dogs in Birmingham. That's why she got to be Secretary of State.
That's right. Yes, sir.
You know, Dr. Ben Carson, you know why you got the opportunities that you got? Not because you worked hard and the country changed. The country was forced to change.
That's right.
It didn't just change.
Yes, sir.
It was forced to change by a combination of the courageousness of the people who combated it.
Right.
Like Sister Asada, and also by the international situation.
That's right.
Which forced the federal government to do things that it normally would not have done.
Yes, sir.
So I said that we got to make our children aware that the opportunities they got today did not just happen.
That's right. Nothing happened.
They are the direct result of people giving up their lives.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Losing their homes, losing their jobs, being put in jail, getting jail records that would keep them from getting different kinds of employment, later on.
Yes,
I mean, people sacrificed.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Not as Dr. King once said, it was not all of us by any means.
Right.
But there was a whole lot of black folks who did.
Yes, sir.
And it was a result of those sacrifices that those people made that they have the opportunity they have today. Not because the country changed and because these people worked hard, because black folks have been working hard for generations.
Come on, brother.
In this society.
Yes, sir. When I listen,
there are probably a few things that I resent more than to hear some person in some big position get up there and talk about how hard they worked and how the country changed, and that's why they are where they are. And if you don't work hard, you can't. That kind of attitude drives me up the wall, man.
Yes, sir. Not just you, brother. When I hear them talking about human trafficking, when I hear them talking about somebody been in captivity for 10 years, so what are you going? When I hear them talking about terrorism, what are you going to tell us as black folk? We the original victims. We are not the OGs, but the OVs, brother. What can you tell us about terrorism?
And the best way to describe, since that word is used a lot today, is to make our young people understand that from really further back of that, but in the 1960s, terrorism was rampant in this country.
That's right.
They never use that term, but
that's
the only way you can describe it.
That's
so whenever I speak to young black people now, I talk about terrorism because they hear that word all the time.
Right.
Yes, so I tell them that was terrorism rampant in this country at that time.
Yes, sir. Clearly. Well, let's begin to get some closing comments, and once more, a phone number where you can be reached. And I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, Baba A. Peter Bailey, and joining us this afternoon on the State of the City. But let's give some closing comments and your contact information.
Well, I just want to thank you again and thank Brother Baba Tunji and Brother Ola for inviting me to be here today.
Yes, sir.
And for inviting me to go on. I'm looking forward to the trip up and talking to people and answering questions about the OAAU. I'm bringing a few things to show that I think they will find interesting.
That's important.
I'm going to probably maybe read some excerpts in my book. I just finished completing my memoir.
Okay, we got to
bring you. I'm working with Brother Malcolm called Witnessing Brother Malcolm X, the Master Teacher.
Well, we got to bring you to the city, brother.
I'm going to read something from the manuscript to the group about that deals with the OAAU.
Okay.
On the trip up, and I can be reached at 301-562-8300.
Okay, I think Brother Baba Tunji had one thing he wanted to say.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make note that Brother Bailey sits on the board of directors of the Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Educational Center up in New York.
Okay.
So he's not just someone who was a member of the OAU and was a confidant of Malcolm X, but he's also a continuing part of that legacy in bringing forth Malcolm's teachings in his life work.
Yes, sir. All right. Let me say thank you, brothers, and I'll get some closing comment from my elders. Thanks again, brother. Go in peace, and we'll be in contact with you. And in the words, of course, the Honorable Marcus Mosaic Garvey, in the whirlwind, my elder. All right?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Peace
brother.
now. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace.
All right. And, brothers, let's once more, man, give out the contact information where brothers and sisters can get their tickets as the tickets are going fast. And the words of Keith Sweat, you want to make it last and get your tickets for the drummer get wicked, in the words of Public Enemy, for those that would like to be a part of the Malcolm X Tour 2013, next Sunday, May the 19th. What a beautiful gift this would be for Mother's Day. What a beautiful gift it would be for some young person that's getting ready to graduate from high school or graduate from college as well. So let's give that phone number where they can call once again, my brother.
Yeah, well, before we do, I just want to thank the vendors. I want to thank Terror Cafe and Terrence for the work they did. I want to thank Everyone's Place.
That's right.
Brother Nati and his staff.
That's right.
Expressions, Mr. and Mrs. Evans. And the others that were also involved.
Jazz West, Sankofa Bookstore in Washington, D.C., of course, and Soul School Institute internationally. Cool, Yes, sir. All right. Anything else, my brother Baba Omar Wali Ali?
Yes, finally, we do have a few tickets left, and if you want to find out where you can get some, call 410-385-9532. And that's the Soul School Institute, and Brother Baba Tunji will tell you where you can go to get some more tickets, right? Okay.
All right.
We hope to see you on the tour. I've been going about 6 or 7 years now, and every time it's a wonderful one. It's like the first time.
Yes, sir.
Because it's like a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Yeah, I've had quite a few of the listeners that went, said they came back and enjoyed themselves overwhelmingly and immensely. So I got to hopefully maybe when you come back, have you come in, sit in, and we'll have some of those brothers and sisters call in again. And, of course, we'll be getting ready after that for the Nat Turner Tour. Is that right?
Exactly right.
Yes, sir. All right. So thank you, my elders. Go in peace. Family, you're listening to the State of the City. Going to go to this quick infomercial, and really not an infomercial, but some inspirational messages from Brother Malcolm X. Listen to this message. We'll be right back with more of the State of the City.
Then right there castrates you. Right there it brings you down. What goes with it? Think of the image of someone sitting. An old woman can sit. An old man can sit. A chump can sit. A coward can sit. Anything can sit. Well, you and I have been sitting long enough, and it's time today for us to start doing some standing and some fighting to back that up. When we look at other parts of this earth upon which we live, we find that black, brown, red, and yellow people in Africa and Asia are getting their independence. They're not getting it by singing, "We shall overcome." No, they're getting it through nationalism. It is nationalism that brought about the independence of the people in Asia. Every nation in Asia gained its independence through the philosophy of nationalism. Every nation on the African continent that has gotten its independence brought it about through the philosophy of nationalism. And it will take black nationalism that to bring about the freedom of 22 million Afro-Americans here in this country, where we have suffered colonialism for the past 400 years. America is just as much a colonial power as England ever was. America is just as much a colonial power as France ever was. In fact, America is more so a colonial power than they, because she's a hypocritical colonial power behind it. What do you call second-class citizenship? Why, that's colonization. Second-class citizenship is nothing but 20th century slavery. How are you going to tell me you're a second-class citizen? They don't have second-class citizenship in any other government on this earth. They just have slaves and people who are free. Well, this country is a hypocrite. They try and make you think they set you free by calling you a second-class citizen. No, you're nothing but a 20th century slave. Just as it took nationalism to remove colonialism from Asia and Africa, it'll take black nationalism today to remove colonialism from the backs and the minds of 22 million Afro-Americans here in this country. And 1964 looks like it might be the year of the ballot or the bullet. Why does it look like it might be the year of the ballot or the bullet? Because Negroes have listened to the trickery and the lies and the false promises of the white man now for too long. And they're fed up. They've become disenchanted. They've become disillusioned. They've become dissatisfied. And all of this has built up frustrations in the black community that makes the black community throughout America today more explosive than all of the atomic bombs the Russians can ever invent. Whenever you got a racial powder keg sitting in your lap, you're in more trouble than if you had an atomic powder keg sitting in your lap. When a racial powder keg goes off, it doesn't care who it